أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا وحبيبنا وعظيمنا وسندنا ومولانا محمدا عبد الله ورسوله الأمين صلاة وسلاما دائمين متلازمين إلى يوم الدين وبعد فقد قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ادفع بالتي هي أحسن فإذا الذي بينك وبينه عداوة كأنه ولي حميم صدق الله مولانا العظيم. وقال حبيب المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم أصحابي كالنجوم بأي مهتديتم اقتديتم أو كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Alhamdulillah, respected ulama, ikram, respected fathers, mothers, honorable youth in Islam, I greet you with the greeting of peace, a greeting of Jannah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, first and foremost, we thank and we praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His endless, countless bounties. Peace and salutations upon our leader, our master, our beloved Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Alhamdulillah, all praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who have made it possible for all of us to gather in one of the houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In spite of this being an amr of Allah, in spite of this being one of the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, imagine Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the glorious time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, those people will be under the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the day that there will be absolute no shade except the shade of the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In fact, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, this is to the latter time of Qiyamah, close to Qiyamah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, some people, you will see them that they will be drowning in their own sweat. To such an extent that the sun will be 1 mile away from their heads. And one of the people that will be saved on that particular day will be رَجُلٌ قَلْبُهُ مُعَلَّقَةٌ بِالْمَسَاجِدِ. Is a person whose heart was connected to the houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We begin to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us to be of those people whose heart is always connected to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And never ever must we find ourselves in a space whereby we distant, whereby we, distant ourselves from the houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some of us at times we divorce the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Through whatever difficulties I'm going through, we tend to divorce the house of Allah first before we divorce anything else. Before we divorce our leisures and pleasures, we tend to divorce the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first. Why must I go to the masjid? Ninawni, ifuni lekani, and all these type of excuses. May Allah make us to be of a people that is connected to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Secondly, we see this opportunity to make dua for all the sick and ill. We make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them all shifa and kamila. We make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them all a speedy recovery. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Special du'as for all the deceased. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fill their qubur with nur. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expand their qubur to where the eye can see. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate their status in Jannah. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. I ought to say, kullu aam wa antum bi khayr. Of course, it is our new year. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us another year, alhamdulillah, in the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whereby this year will be better than last year, whereby this year will be a year that I will gain more, proximity unto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whereby this year will be that insha'Allah ta'ala I will regret and show nadam and tawbah for all the mistakes that I have made in the past year. Whereby this year will be that I will become a better Muslim. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us all. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all a long life in the obedience of Allah. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. If there is Jamaatul Muslimin, one brother requested last week, in fact, these have been the requests for so many weeks, if not months. Maulana, our time, you tend to go over time. You're the type of player that like to play in the extra time. So inshallah, I can't call them, that super substitutes because I'm not, but inshallah we'll try to keep our time down, inshallah ta'ala, because of the lessons being to that extent, especially when we We speak about the life of Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in, the companions of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We tend to go overboard, but inshallah ta'ala I'll try to keep in line because some brothers still need to go work, inshallah. We need to be considerate as well. So nevertheless, Jamaatul Muslimin, as a continuation of last week, we said that we are going to knock the door of none other than Hamza ibn Abdul Muttalib radiallahu anhu. We can start now. At times, amazing, and it's something that I have a passion for. I love to hear these stories about the leaders. At times we don't appreciate the Islam that we have. We don't appreciate being Muslims. We don't know what it is. Because we take advantage for being born Muslims, and it's like we giving Islam something, we're making Islam high because of our existence, of our being a Muslim. And I swear by Allah, if you listen to the stories, to how people have guided their hearts towards Islam, I swear by Allah, if we look at our own Islam and listen to the stories of the reverts, we'll see where we stand in the queue. We'll see what number we have in the queue. So Hamza ibn Abdul Muttalib radiallahu anhu was one of the uncles of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And listen to the strange way Allah guided his heart to Islam. Allahu Akbar. Even the ulama says, ajiban. It is extremely very strange. Really would you hear and find out that people's hearts is guided towards Islam in this particular fashion and way. We see it happening today. But nevertheless, Hamza radiallahu anhu being the uncle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but not only the uncle, but he is also the foster brother of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Both of himself and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was suckled by the very same lady, Thuwayba radiallahu ta'ala anha. So both of them were brothers as well. Their age was similar, and also Jamaatul Muslimin, he happened to be the uncle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Extremely very close with Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Belonged to the same tribe, Banu Hashim. His father was Abdul Muttalib. And also the uncle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the uncle of Rasulullah and his father as well. So nevertheless, Jamaatul Muslimin, Hamza radiallahu anhu was not a very religious person. Hamza radiallahu anhu was not a very religious person. In fact, Hamza was not a person that loved, the town life. Hamza was a person radiallahu anhu who loved nature, wildlife. Hence the reason to why when Rasulullah received nubuwwah, wahi, and he gave da'wah to his very own family first, the Banu Hashim tribe, Hamza radiallahu anhu was not present. Hamza loved to hunt and used to hunt the most difficult of animals to hunt. In fact, the meaning of Hamza radiallahu anhu was, and the meaning of the name is, a lion. We'll see how this had an impact in his life. Allahu Akbar. In fact, Hamza and Abbas and all these names are all referring to a lion. Hamza, the meaning of Hamza is a lion when he is about to have his meal. That's the true meaning of the word Hamza. So Hamza radiallahu anhu wasn't present, he was out hunting, and Hamza had this aura because he was this humongous person in size, extremely very strong. His sword, and inshallah, if Allah do permit us all to go, inshallah, one day, try to visit the Istanbul museum, whereby you would see the sword of Rasulullah. In fact, the many swords with the bow and arrows of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and likewise the sword of Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and likewise Hamza radiallahu anhu. I swear by Allah, I have seen it with my own eyes. The sword of Hamza radiallahu anhu was this height. The handle was at this height. The handle of the sword. Hamza radiallahu anhu was one of the few Sahaba who could fight, who had two swords. Now, one can only but imagine the strength that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave this individual. Humongous in size, big in hands, every part of him was big. Swords. And Hamza radiallahu anhu happened not to be present. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gave da'wah to the Banu Hashim, whereby we all know two of his uncles reverted to Islam, the likes of Abbas radiallahu anhu, and the likes of Hamza at that time. But the two uncles that openly rejected was first Abu Lahab. We all know. Abu Lahab, Surah Al-Lahab in the Quran. Allah cursed the hands of Abu Lahab and his wife Jamil. And also the very famous uncle, which Rasulullah gave him da'wah at the very moments before he left this world. Rasulullah actually told him, "Oh, Ya Am, oh my beloved uncle, even if you whisper in my ears, just say La ilaha illallah, and I will be testimony on the day of Qiyamah for you, in front of Allah, that you have reverted to Islam." His uncle, unfortunately, left this world, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, without having iman, without believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nevertheless, Jamaatul Muslimin, it happened to be a particular night whereby Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam went down to the Kaaba to offer 2 rak'at salah. This is how Hamza radiallahu anhu became a Muslim. Rasulullah went down to the Kaaba to perform 2 rak'at salah. Now, try not to picture the Kaaba the way we see it today. At times when we mention the Haram and the Kaaba of the time of Nabi, we tend to see the Kaaba, the one that we see now, with the beautiful turnings, with the beautiful marble flooring. No. Trying to picture a Kaaba with statues and things around the Kaaba. Trying to picture the Kaaba with no flooring. Trying to picture the Kaaba, only the Kaaba there with desert around it and sand around it. Trying to picture only this single building standing in the middle. Now Rasulullah performing 2 rak'at salah with his head in the dust, in the sand. Huh? And how do we complain at times? About the carpet is too hard. You need to come with the extra. Why did you buy that musraf with the extra 5 layers? Yes, because I don't want you to get some marks on my forehead. Allahu Akbar. In the dust, in the sand. Rasulullah made salah. And this was the very same day that Abu Jahl told himself, today, come what may, I'm a head of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said, today I'm going to kill him. I can't take it anymore. All these rumors and all these stories, and him breaking up families, and brothers that don't speak to one another anymore, because this was their belief that Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is breaking up family ties. And he came down to the Haram with this intention, that I'm going to kill Nabi Muhammad sallallahu today. And he happened to see Rasulullah sallallahu performing 2 rak'at salah in front of the Kaaba. In fact, he came to Nabi Muhammad while Rasulullah was in sujood in front of him. To be more precise, he picked up a big stone and he said to himself, this is the end. I'm going to finish him now. And he raised the stone. No sooner he raised the stone, those around him, the Qurayshi friends, with some of the Sahaba being far distant away, they said, what we saw was, he threw the stone down, he shouted, and he took off. The Qurayshi said, we didn't understand what is happening. Well, what is happening with Abu Jahl? This is unlike him. We got hold of Abu Jahl later at time and we asked him, Abu Jahl, what happened? You went for the kill. He said, when I picked up the stone, I saw him prostrating. When I came close to him and I raised the stone, Allah showed me a vision of a trench of fire. I saw fire in front of me. And this fire was enough to scare me off. Because what happened with Muhammad prostrating, now there is a big trench away from me to him with a big fire in front of me. I said to myself, I better take off. They asked Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, what happened? Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that لو فعل فأخذه جبريل. If he had to throw the stone, Jibreel would have annihilated him. To such an extent, Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, when Abu Jahl picked up the stone, Allah ordered Jibreel to go down. And not only to go down, but to go down with weapons of Jahannam. Hence to why he saw fire in front of him. He took off. This is Abu Jahl. But you know, arrogant, settled in his ways. And at times we would think that, imagine living amongst the Sahaba, living with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. How is it possible that these people couldn't bring Iman? And I mean, this is a thought perhaps that went through everyone's mind. You know, if I must picture myself, imagine I'm present there, I was probably would have been the best of Muslims. Yeah. En ons ding maar altyd van onsself om baie kwaai te wees, man. You know, I would have performed all my salah, and most probably be the most bravest of Sahaba. And we all know this was not the case. What arrogance does, at times, we would see even those who loved family of Rasulullah that didn't believe him. Family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that it was totally against their nafs, against their pride to accept Islam. Just moments before Abu Jahl did that, he insulted Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Well, Rasulullah in Salah. And he mentioned something about the Asaba, the tribe of Banu Hashim. Now, one thing that we can say out there, Jamaatul Muslimin, even the Quraysh, the enemy, amongst the Arabs, they had deep love for family ties. Hence the reason to why we would hear tribal fights. You know, if you say something about our tribe, we will go to the end of this world to cover for our tribe. So when he insulted Nabi Muhammad sallallahu while being in Salah, you know, everyone at the back, even of the Quraysh, looked at Abu Jahl, and they thought, oh, Abu Jahl, I mean, why would you insult his tribe? Why would you stoop so low? Nevertheless, Jamaatul Muslimin, the very next day, Hamza returned. Now, when Hamza returned, it was a whole, you know, big thing like a labaran. Everyone flocked around Hamza to see what new animals he had hunted. And Hamza was the man of the time, you know, subhanallah. Hamza used to come to the Haram, to the Kaaba, and they would have these halqas, these circles, to listen to his stories. How did you hunt? Where did you go? And Allahu Akbar. Hamza sat here and he said, "Bichibati Allah fa'amal, bichibati story, mutiqa khanad." Hamza radiallahu anhu. And when everything was done, he stood up on his way home. He met a lady on the road. Ummi Ammara. She said to him, Hamza, you come here. Whilst everyone making a big fuss of you, imagine you couldn't even cover for your own cousin. You couldn't cover for your nephew. That's your nephew. I mean, if everyone is praising you. And Hamza wasn't even praising. He said, well, what happened? She said Abu Jahl did this. Abu Jahl said that of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hamza radiallahu anhu said, what did Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam do? She said nothing. He was that individual, even if you surrounded him, even if you spoke ill and bad towards him, he wouldn't, you know, take revenge. He wouldn't speak back. Hamza said, وَمَنْ رَآهُ. How about those who saw Abu Jahl doing that to him? Didn't they say anything? Where's his tribesmen? Where's the Sahaba? At least not the Sahaba. Where's the Banu Hashim? Why isn't his tribe? Why didn't his tribe say anything? Remember Hamza not being a Muslim. He said, no one did nothing. Hamza took his sword. Now, remember Abu Jahl is no ordinary Quraysh. Abu Jahl was one of the leaders of the Banu Makhzum tribe, the main tribe of the Quraysh. Abu Jahl was considered to be one of the leaders, also big in stature, also big in size. Hamza radiallahu anhu took off to Abu Jahl. Whilst Abu Jahl sitting amongst his leaders, Hamza went right through them, right up to Abu Jahl, and he said to Abu Jahl, "Did you say that about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam?" And Abu Jahl obviously thought that, I'm amongst my tribesmen. I mean, Hamza, you alone. Hamza gave him one blow that split his forehead open. On the ground he lay. Hamza placed his foot on his chest. Now this is, whilst the whole Banu Makhzum was watching, Hamza said to him, "How dare you say that about that nephew of mine, whilst I have reverted to his deen?" Hamza is not a Muslim yet. But this is true. It's not for Abu Jahl. How can you say something like that? Whilst I have reverted to his deen. And let me tell you that nephew of mine, he's indeed the Rasool of Allah. It comes in the riwayah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now Abu Jahl was shocked. No one knew this because it didn't happen yet. Hamza is not a Muslim yet. But he just said this to cover for his brother. Allahu Akbar. To what extent Hamza went? Pause. How many a times don't we hear people speaking ill about a close friend of ours? Us knowing his character, we are more concerned of what is being said. Then to cover for that friend. Then to actually say, "Brother, just hold your tongue. Don't say anything further than that because I know that person. I will confirm whatever you have said with the brother, just hold on." And many a times, Jamaatul Muslimin, just try it one day. By listening to a story, let's say of Muhammad and Ismail, Muhammad speaking bad about Ismail, just tell Muhammad, "Brother, just hold on, I have Ismail's number. Let me just confirm that in front of you. You'll see." As because there is an imam, direct namima, direct stories under. You are a fitna monger. You love to spread fitna. This is your thing. So Hamza, not being a Muslim, but he knew his nephew, he knew his brother. He said, "No, this is not the case. How dare you speak about him like that?" Now I'm saying, this is for your friend that you should go that extra mile. How about your own flesh and blood? How many times don't we hear people speaking ill about our own flesh and blood? Brother, perhaps a man have license if it's his own sister, if it's his own brother. He have license to say so because it's my own. But how dare you speak about my sister? How dare you speak about my brother? Knowing that it is not the truth. Subhanallah. Abu Jahl stood up. Now Abu Jahl before was known as Abu Hakam. Abu Hakam, the father of wisdom, the wise. Why amongst the Quraysh he was considered to be a very extremely very wise person. When he didn't accept Islam, Rasul named him not as Abu Hakam, but Abu Jahl. The father of what? Wisdom? No, the father of ignorance. Abu Jahl stood up, and Abu Jahl immediately understood to what is going to happen. Abu Jahl said to all the other tribes, because they wanted to attack Hamza, he said to them, "No, hold on. No. I accept I made a mistake to call Muhammad XYZ, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Oh Hamza, I made a mistake." Hamza turned around, radiallahu anhu, he went back home. As he went back home, in his house, Hamza asked himself the question, what just happened now? Am I a Muslim now? Strange how Allah guides people's hearts towards Islam. extremely very strange at times. In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِدْفَعْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. Repel the bad character with good character. فَإِذَا الَّذِي بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَهُ. For that very thing between you and them, adawa, that enemy, you'd find that enmity and hatred, waliyun hamim, will become those who have shown hatred towards you. By you giving them, this beautiful akhlaq, you see they will become your best friends and your best of protectors. Hamza radiallahu anhu was one of you. The second one is to follow, none other than Umar ibn al-Khattab. Hamza became a Muslim before Umar ibn al-Khattab. Hamza being confused as a kind of Muslim, did I now accept Islam? Ask any Mu'tamir, ask any Hujjaj, the moment you enter Medina, I swear by Allah, it is as like a magnet. You'll be drawn towards Uhud. At the moment you arrive on Uhud, it is just natural that you are inclined towards the qadr of Hamza radiallahu anhu. This individual, remember I said he wasn't even religious. So perhaps, and often when we think of Sahaba, we all think of them to be extremely very pious. Yes. But this was before Islam. Hamza wasn't really a person of, Allah conscious or God. No, not at all. So now Hamza being confused, am I a Muslim? What did I really do? He somewhat, as it comes in the riwayat, made dua to a higher being that Allah must guide him towards the truth. Because he's confused now. The very next day he wanted to get to his nephew to find out what happened. He met Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the very same house where Mus'ab ibn Umayr radiallahu anhu went for knowledge. Hamza radiallahu anhu went to the house of Arqam. And Hamza at that time became the great boy, the guardian of the house of Arqam. Hamza, when he saw Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, Ashhadu annaka Rasulullah. Immediately, without Nabi Muhammad convincing him, I bear witness and testimony that you are indeed the Rasul of Allah. Wa annaka la-sadiq, and whatever you say, it is indeed the truth. Hamza became a Muslim. We need to fast forward. Hamza, radiallahu anhu, as we all know, the Sahaba migrated from Makkah to Medina. There's some of them that openly declared and openly invited others towards Islam and openly pronounced the Islam. We all know Rasool advised the Sahaba, especially the weaker ones, especially those who were slaves before, not to proclaim the Islam, not to say it out loud, to rather leave Makkah in the silence, in the depth of night, because of Rasulullah worrying about their persecution, etc. Hamza was one of them, radiallahu anhu. When he became a Muslim, Hamza radiallahu anhu marched down to the Kaaba with his sword and his bow on his left shoulder. He went down to the Kaaba, stood up on one of, if I may call it today, one of the chairs next to the Kaaba, and he said, if there is any one of the Quraysh, this is me, Hamza, I'm migrating to Medina today, but I still have a few hours left. If there is anyone that is up for a duel, come forward. If there is anyone that is ready to fight me, please come. I still have a few hours left, you may come forward. This is Hamza. No other Sahabi except Hamza radiallahu anhu and the likes of Umar ibn al-Khattab did this. Migrated, fast forward, Hamza became not only Asadullah, but he became wa Asadu Rasul. This is not something that Rasulullah named him. He named himself this. In fact, there's one riwayat that states that when Abu Jahl argued with him or asked him, so, what are you now? He said, don't you know who I am? He says, yes, you Hamza. He said, no, I am Asadullah wa Asadu Rasuli. I'm the lion of Allah and I'm the lion of the Rasul of Allah. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This statement here wasn't just, a normal nickname like how we would call one another. No. Hamza went to Badr. Hamza fought in Badr. And Hamza, like I said, was an extremely very brave Sahabi. He was extremely very brave. He didn't stand back for anything and for no one. Hamza's main thing was the protection of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must flourish and must go forward. Hamza, before the battle of Badr, it was known that who is going to partake in the duel. Now we all know, as pre-battles before, there was duels before the main battle, meaning one-on-ones. And the chieftains of the Quraysh came out by the name of Utbah ibn Rabi'ah, Shaybah ibn Rabi'ah, and Walid ibn Utbah. 3. And Utbah said, being part of the leaders of the Banu Makhzum, he said, is there any one of the Muslims to fight us? And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent out 3 of the Ansar tribe people to fight the 3 of the Quraysh. And Utbah said, no, who's this? We don't even know them. Send our lights out, send people with status, send people out that we know. And Hamza, radiallahu anhu, he was the first to stand up. And he moved forward. Second to him, Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. Third to them, Khudayfa radiallahu anhu. And not Khudayfa ibn al-Yaman, but Khudayfa ibn Nu'man. So the 3 of them went forward, Jamaatul Muslimin, fighting the duels. Now there is a reason to why I'm mentioning the duel of Hamza radiallahu anhu with Utbah. Because remember, Hind. We all know Hind. Hind, the person that was the organizer of the assassination of Hamza radiallahu anhu. Hind was Binta Utbah. Hind was the daughter of Utbah, the one that Hamza is busy fighting. So Hamza was a few blows killed Utbah. Ali radiallahu anhu killed Shaybah. So this is brother and brother, both being the father of Hind and the uncle of Hind. Walid, being the son of Utbah, was also killed. So Hind in one battle lost a father, an uncle, and a brother. So after the battle of Badr, we can only imagine what hatred Hind had. And likewise many of the families in Makkah. For once upon a time, these desert Arabs were our slaves. And imagine they overpowered our leaders. Our leaders lost their lives. They say Hind hated Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to that extent that she wanted to not kill Rasul outright, but she wanted to cause that amount of pain upon the heart of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And she knew the only way to do that is to remove Hamza, because she understood the connection and the love that Rasulullah had for Hamza radiallahu anhu. They started to make vile poetry, because poetry, it was an era of poetry. Like we would say, made up songs. Hated for Rasulullah, and more per se for Hamza radiallahu anhu, the killer of the father, the killer of the uncle, the killer of the brother. And all of a sudden, a person by the name of Wahshi radiallahu anhu. And remember, I'm saying radiallahu anhu and Hind radiallahu anha. By me saying this, it means that all of them reverted to Islam. All of them became Muslims. But there is a part that I would want to highlight, inshaAllah ta'ala, at least try to highlight. So coming the battle of Uhud, Rasulullah assigned with Hamza radiallahu anhu a Sahabi that all of us are familiar with, Zayd ibn Haritha, who was once upon a time known as the adopted son of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Zayd ibn Haritha was a youngster to Hamza, but they used to move around. They shared one she-camel, mode of transport towards Uhud. And on his way, Hamza radiallahu anh told Zayd that, oh Zayd, I'm leaving my wasiyah to you. Meaning Hamza prepared himself. Say, whoa. Yeah. And we know when we talk about worlds, gaat het voorbij nou. Nou praat nie oor Willie. Let's be a whole praat. In fact, when we leave again for Makkah, inshallah, then we talk about worlds again. Because it's only there we can die. We can't die here. Hamza radiallahu sorted out his world, came to the battle of Uhud. They say in the battle of Uhud, 2/3 of the enemy was killed by the hands of Hamza radiallahu anhu. 2/3 of the first half was killed by the hands of Hamza radiallahu anhu. Hind organized this Ethiopian slave at the time, and the Ethiopians, Abyssinians at least, were known for their spear. They were extremely, marksmen. Wahshi narrates, Wahshi said, I didn't partake in the battle of Uhud. My main purpose, my main job was Hamza. Because he told me if I kill him, I'm free. He said, I hid myself behind this big rock on the battle of Uhud. As we all know, those who were there, it's very rocky. It's it's the big hill there or mountain there. He said, but as I hide myself away, me being afraid of Hamza as well, because I've seen how he moves on the battlefield. This man stands behind for nothing. He moves forward. He says there was a time that I came out and I said to myself, no, this is not the right time. Hide yourself again, Wahshi, because if he sees you, perhaps he will come for you. And Wahshi said, it was after a moment that he just killed a person by the name of Aswad ibn Abdul Asad. As he killed this enemy of Islam, his armor moved up a bit. And his whole bottom section was exposed. And Wahshi said, this is my moment. He threw the spear right through Hamza radiallahu anhu. He said, Wahshi said, as Hamza fell to the ground, with the spear right through him, Hamza radiallahu anhu, he said, what a strong individual. This man with the spear through his stomach looked for his sword, got his sword, stood up again, and came at me. Wahshi said, I moved because now I have no spear. Wahshi said, I moved to the back. As Hamza came forward, of course the pain didn't allow him. Hamza radiallahu anhu collapsed, and instantly he died. Fast forward in the battle of Uhud, I need to end off. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam now being pushed with the Sahaba up onto Jabal Uhud, into behind one of the big, rocks and if I may call it today, a cave. But now Rasul being pushed up, all the Sahaba, Ridwanullahi alayhim, all the martyrs is laying way on the ground. Now those who have an image of Uhud, remember when the battle took place and when Jabal Uhud is just quite a distance. So Rasulullah was pushed right to the back. And while the martyrs, the likes of Hamza radiallahu anhu, the Sahabi that we have discussed 2 weeks ago, Mus'ab ibn Umayr, all of them still laying on the ground. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is on that side. The battle of Uhud was also that battle that all the women of the Quraysh, the daughters, their mothers, all of them came with to the battle of Uhud. The likes of Mus'ab ibn Umayr's mother, she came with. The likes of Hind bint Utbah, Hind, the daughter of Utbah that was killed in Badr, she came with. All of them came with. Why? To witness. They said that we are going to drink wine and spit it over the corpse of the Muslims. We are going to annihilate them. As Rasulullah with all his Sahaba is in Jabal Uhud, he said to Wahshi, bring Hamza to me. She opened up. You talk about hatred, next level. We need to say radiallahu anha. We ought to say radiallahu anha. She opened the chest of Hamza radiallahu anha. She cut off his nose. She cut off his ears. She removed his liver. Such was the hatred. Why? This is a form of revenge for her. She removed his liver and she chewed on his liver. Hamza radiallahu anhu, his limbs was removed. And left like that. And they are parting. Rasulullah is unaware of what has happened. Battle of Uhud is done. The enemy have moved on. Rasulullah with the Sahaba came down. Trying to picture this. Trying to understand. The closest Nabi Muhammad had with Hamza radiallahu anhu. It is the very same person that we were suckled together. Rasulullah came down. The first person that Rasulullah was looking for was none other than Hamza radiallahu anhu. When the Sahaba brought him sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to Hamza, Nabi Muhammad looked at the body of Hamza radiallahu anhu and he burst out crying. Sahaba said, never before, never after that did we ever see and hear Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam crying the way he cried at the death of Hamza radiallahu anhu. Looking at the body of Hamza radiallahu anhu, Rasulullah couldn't control himself. The enemy gone, him gone, Abu Sufyan gone, Wahshi gone. Mus'ab ibn Umayr, now as the Quraysh's women came, the Muslims on the other side, some of their women also came. Why? They wanted to hear the glad tidings. They wanted, some of them would want to see who's still alive. My brother went for jihad, is he still alive? My husband went, is he still alive? Now the aunt of Rasulullah by the name of Safiya radiallahu anha, the sister of Hamza, she came. And she was the mother of none other than Zubayr ibn al-Awwam radiallahu anhu. Now these are giants. Nabi Muhammad, while standing, while crying, he obviously knows what is about to happen. Rasul got hold of Zubayr and he said, oh Zubayr, go to your mom and stop her wherever she is. Tell her that she's not allowed to come. Why? Rasul being so considerate, he didn't want the sister to see how her own brother's body is being mutilated. Rasul said, keep her there, don't let her come, don't let her see her brother like this. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Zubayr went, trying to stop his mom, Safiya radiallahu anha. Safiya as a mother would, easily overpower her son. And we all know the mommy's voice, Allahu Akbar. Mama said it, Tamuzayri Risi, Allahu Akbar. Mama said it, Vani, Mama said it, Dite, be there, you got to be there, brother, Allahu Akbar. Cancel whatever you have on. Zubayr is trying, and I'm talking about Ashratul Mubashara. I'm talking about the Sahaba that got glad tidings of Jannah while they were alive in this world. Zubayr ibn al-Awwam, he tried to stop his mom. His mom moved him aside. Zubayr, you're not stopping me. As she's walking, coming closer to the scene. As she's walking, coming closer to Uhud, meaning on the battlefield, Zubayr says to himself, how am I going to stop this lady? There is nothing that I, in my personal capacity, can do, except, he says, Ya Ummah, oh my mother, it is the order of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You are not allowed to enter the battlefield. In her tracks, she stopped. In her tracks. Why? The words of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the orders of Rasulullah meant everything. She stopped. She turned back. Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. However, coming fast forward, our time is up. Rasulullah having the janazah of Hamza ibn Abdul Muttalib, about to perform Salatul Janazah. Rasul said, bring all the other shuhada. Inni Rasulullah. Rasul says, I'm the Rasul of Allah. And I bear witness, annakum shuhada'u 'inda Allahi yawm al-qiyamah. And I bear witness that you are the martyrs coming the day of Qiyamah. And not that, and you, O Hamza, وَأَنْتَ سَيِّدُ الشُّهَدَاءِ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. You will be the leader of all the martyrs coming the day of Qiyamah. Hamza as a martyr will be resurrected. Hamza will be their Amir, their leader. But Nabi Muhammad mentioned something very strange. He said, had it not been for the sentiments and the feelings of my aunt Safiya, I wouldn't have buried Hamza. I would have allowed the cows and the animals the birds to eat Hamza. Now this was strange. I mean, this is not honor, according to us. Nabi Muhammad said, so that on the day of Qiyamah, that Allah resurrect Hamza from the bellies of the birds. I wanted all these enemies to see on the day of Qiyamah how Allah resurrect Hamza radiallahu anh from the bellies of the birds, bringing him together again, standing in front of Allah as the leader of all the shuhada. Hamza radiallahu anh in front of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. They say, never before that, never after that, did we ever see a Salatul Janazah of that nature. It comes in the riwayat. We all know how many takbeers in Salatul Janazah. How many takbeers? 4. Allah performs. 4. First, Fatiha. Second, Salawat. Third, Dua for the Mayyit. Fourth, Dua for everyone, right? They say at that janazah, we heard extra takbeers. Sahaba. They say we didn't know what to say, and we never ever saw a Salatul Janazah like that again. Extra takbeers. Salatul Janazah done for Hamza radiallahu anhu. Done. We brought Mus'ab ibn Umayr closer. We wanted to take the body of Hamza. Nabi Muhammad said, no. Leave Hamza. Bring Mus'ab. Another Salatul Janazah. Next one. Take Mus'ab away. Bring the next one. All the 70 Shuhada martyrs was brought, lined up next to Hamza radiallahu anhu, one by one. And Rasulullah performed Salatul Janazah on everyone. But Hamza didn't move. Hence to why the ulama say Salatul Janazah was performed on Hamza radiallahu anhu 70 times. It was also the battle in which there was a confusion between how should we bury them. To end off, it was that type of battle, there wasn't enough space and ground. Because there wasn't enough kafan. For some of the Sahaba, the likes of Hamza radiallahu anh was one of them. If they covered his head, his feet was exposed. They covered his feet, his head was exposed. Allahu Akbar. The complaint came, or the question came to Nabi Muhammad, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is our holes we have, how should we bury them? These two Sahaba who have preference to go in first. Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, one question, who of them have the most Quran? Who of them have memorized the most Quran? Put him in first. Let the others follow him. Why? The Quran of Allah gets preference even after our demise. The The Quran of Allah gives preference even at the time of burial. Putting the one that have more Quran, put him in first, then the other, then the other. And that's the thing we have today. We argue of who. In fact, brothers, I've seen our brothers argue over who must be buried in Mama's grave. So if you turn uncle al, you can Mama se gat geboek al. We argue. I wanted to be buried there first. Brother, it's not a thing like, and I don't know how Muslims on this, I don't know if we think that, I'm taking Mama to be out there in Mulberry. I don't know if we think that Mama in Bia is going to have a cup of tea. Because Mama gaat misschien nou niet als niemand begraven in Constantia van Mama niet. Mama won't know the neighbors. It's not the case. Just get away from that. In the name of Allah. Unless it's because of shortages, yes, of course. Then we bury in that particular fashion. But I swear by Allah, it's not a thing of Mama and Bia being in the same hole. MashaAllah, it's husband and wife. Imagine they are together in one hole. And it's not the case. It's not a thing of what we have in this world. It's a thing of it's hisab individually. Reckoning individually. Munkar and Nakir won't ask Mama and then Bia give the answers. No, say, wat is so van my goeie. Not the case. May Allah protect us. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala safeguard us. Our time really don't allow us in Jumu'ah to discuss, the illustrious Sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We try our little best, but time don't really allow us. Please give me a big mark for those who still go work. And I went over my time again. Please give me a big mark. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us tawfiq and hidayah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us to be of the Sahaba. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us be of those people that try to resemble their lives. Name our children after them. Name our children after them with the intention that Allah must make my son that I'm about to name Hamza, the likes of Hamza ibn Abdul Muttalib radiallahu anhu. And leave all these funny Chinese names that we have and give our children. It sounds very beautiful. And please, in the name of Allah, fathers, you name your children. It is something that we normally have mashura with our lives. But name your child. Name your child because it's your child. The Western world says it's the children of the women. I swear by Allah, Islam says the children belongs to who? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us hidayah and tawfiq. سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد ان لا اله الا انت نستغفرك